Greetings and salutations, Pokemon fans. We're back with more fantastic action of our favorite video game, although really, for a lot of people, it's their most stated video game. But you know how it works, right? The first hit is free and it sends you to heaven, and then the 100th hit will make you feel like you've been used to mop the floor. But it's too late at that point, so we're still here after all these years playing with these stupid fucking monsters. And today we're watching Starmaster against Ox the Fox. Bit of a surprise to see Ox the Fox in. Is more known for his Fairy Gens gameplay, especially like what Gen 7 and 8. But um, I guess his team didn't have a either the team ran out of options, though the player that was playing okay, so their starter was Brian. And after he struggled for a bit, they subbed in TKO, who was played okay. So my best guess is that TKO couldn't play this week. And so they went for the next best option, which was Ox the Fox, apparently. And the team is brought is a this is very Soulwind-esque. He's run something like this a couple of times between the last two SPLs. I don't remember if these are the exact six, but Hippodon, Xatu, Terrakion, those we have seen those a bit even in this SPL. Like maybe not Xatu, but Hippodon, Rotom, Terrakion, and Latios. We've seen a couple in this SPL anyway. So this is a structure that works. Xatu is a bit weird, but it's okay because it lets you avoid spinning, which sounds a bit weird when you consider how strong spinners are outside of spinning, like Excadrill or Starmie, but Excadrill makes this team instantly lose to fighting moves, which do not recommend. For example, to Conkeldurr. And Starmie is I'm not a fan, personally, and also, I don't know. I mean, I don't hate bulky Starmie, but also Xatu gives you some momentum as well, which is nice. I prefer it to other stuff. It also beats Conkeldurr, which is always funny. But so does Starmie if you run Psychic and say Rocky Emmet or Corduberry. Alright, Starmaster decided that Starmie is too mainstream and is too cool to run Starmie, so instead he brought the other water spinner, which it has some traits kind of that it learns Foresight, and although you cannot run Rain Dish and Foresight, and even if you're in hyper offense like this, like even if you have a team like this, you usually want Rain Dish because it makes you so much stronger into Rain, which these teams kind of struggle with sometimes. But if you're okay with running Torrent, you can run Foresight and guarantee spin. And beyond that, this guy doesn't do absolutely anything else, so I'm not sure why there's a Blastoise on this side. Everything else is your standard hyper offense team, so not much to say here really. And unfortunately for Starmaster, there's a Terrakion in Sand on as well as Hippodon on the other side, so Volcarona will be hard pressed to sweep. On the plus side, Conkeldurr looks pretty strong, but it kind of Conkeldurr struggles into Xatu if it's got one of Reflect or Feather Dance, which it should almost always have. And there's Sand too. Dragonite depends on the Jirachi. If it's Scarfrachi, seems a bit weird to me. Because it's the only steel type and the team is not super offensive, so this is probably like specially defensive, right? Or at the very least is max health with leftovers. That's the least I could ask for. Whereas this one is Scarf. Well, if you're a Giga Drain Volk and switching on a couple of things, you can just hard the Giga, right? That's a pretty strong play into this. Okay, no, I think Volcarona can do a lot of work this game. You Giga Drain, Hippodon on like You get in for free on Xatu, say, or Jirachi if it's not like body slam. And then you click Giga Drain, or you can even click Fire Move, really. Like, the best fire resist on this team is Terrakin in Sand, okay, I guess. It will take still some damage. Okay. If you guess a couple of turns right with Walker, you kind of own this game. And there's also Garchomp is pretty strong into this, mind you. Kong will need to crit Exato probably, so I wouldn't say that's strong. The light is also decent here, depending on item. And you have a Healing Wish, so that's also nice. Blastoise is also not the worst. If you have like, so let's say you lead Blastoise here, although you should lead Garchomp. Let's say you have Blastoise on the field, and there's a Rotom here. Turn one, you Scald as the Rotom Wisps, and then you Mirror Coat as the Rotom Volswitches, and then you keep something for free. Although I'm not sure it can be used with Rendish, but I think it can, yeah. And so that's a pretty strong play as well into this. Okay, so you lead Garchomp probably here. You could lead Volk. Leading Volk is the clinical insane play, which is why I like it. There's also an argument to be made to lead with Conk and just bulk up to one, unless you're leading Xatu, then tough luck. But against Xatu, you are the Volcarona and click Fire Move. Whoa. Okay, so you lead Conk, right? Conk is the best one, because it beats 4 of these on lead, and against Xatu, you can hard Volcarona. Xatu could U-turn maybe, or switch out. Okay, if it doubles out to Terrakion, then it's kind of annoying, but that's an insane play to go Xatu into Terrakion against Conkeldurr. You're really going for a mega outplay if you do that. Right, so I say lead Conk here and probably lead Hippodon. You want the Sand up, right? Let's see if Ox agrees. Looks like there's no agreement whatsoever. Okay, Xatu. Swords Dancer. Oh, very ballsy U-turn, but it's fine. It's actually good because the whole point of having Xatu here is that you block rocks, and if you lead the Xatu against Chomp, Chomp can only outrage you if it wants to kill you. That means rocks will not go up, and so that's totally fine. Alright, just Kodorachi. You will take a million damage because this probably specs, but or you take 0. That's also fair. And you turn. Well, yes, you're kind of forced to U-turn. Although, if you U-turn here, um, who dies? Garchomp, I guess. You toss the Chomp. You don't give a better option, though. You just Iron Head turn 2, 3, no, right? Okay, Chomp is dead, that's okay. You turn again. And Hippodon. Kong. You're banking on this not being Whirlwind, but it's fair enough because this game is already kind of hard. Okay, let's see. Kong bulks up. You should probably bulk up again. If this reveals to be Feather Dance, well, just whatever, man. Payback. Yeah, this is exactly why you bulk up again. And now you are kind of bulk up again here, right? Like, please don't tell me you keep payback. Okay. Oof. All right, and payback again. What? I mean, you could bulk up. Bulk up will be better probably, but I think you're playing with fire if you bulk up again. And never mind, bulk upping would have been indeed better, but I'm bad at the game. All right. Unfortunately, some people want to get this mod ban, but this 1v1 is really sad to watch. And there it is, the crit that finally makes Kong bypass Xatu. But Ox is very happy with this. Xatu was useless at this point anyway. It was worse than useless. It was almost a liability. Oh, this is a very nice double. And you click rocks. Blastoise. I would skull personally, if I'm Starmaster. Actually, no, spin is better because even if Rotom comes in, then you can magic code maybe. Mirror code, not magic code. I'm not sure this guy even learns magic code. Okay, alright. Toxic call the last move. Maybe protect, maybe not mirror code. I have no idea. Alright, and you. It is protect. Okay, it's not mirror code. What a sad little life, Jane. Alright, so what do you do here, Starmaster? You just have to stay in a skull, right? Yeah. You're in a decent spot, though. If you burn this, especially, you're very close to winning. Oh, it's specially defensive, okay. That did absolutely zero damage. I had work personally on this turn, and it didn't happen. You're going the turn earlier, because now your opponent clicks Body Slam, and you have no play. Oh, it's your turn, even worse, okay. And the opponent should probably go... Why not Hippo? Oh, right, the wish was up. Okay, so Latios is back to full health. This is a disaster. Arachi? I don't know, man. I think Hippo was better anyway on this turn. It probably doesn't super matter, but if this Fabulous bursts, then it kind of sucks. Okay, it didn't happen. What do you click here, Starmaster? Do you stay in? I think you stay in and just click. Oh, never mind. Never mind. I'm the best to ever do it. I've won the game. I mean, uh, nah, it wasn't one anyway. There's a Hippodon here. Okay, get a burn maybe. Oh man, bit unlucky here. I mean, it's not super unlucky, but it is would have been nice to get a flame body burn. Right, so how do you win if you're Star Master? You DD up here and just Outrage. And if this is Scarf Terrakion, that's okay. If actually no, I think you DD up again. So if this is Rock Slide, whatever, right? If it's Ice Fang, you don't die anyway. Okay, it's Ice Fang. Oh man, come on. Right, so there's a full health Latios, so I'm not sure it matters. So how it should probably play out is that Dragonite Outrages kills Hippodon, in comes Scarf Terrakion. Revenge kills you with Stone Edge slash Rock Slide, and then you go Conk. But there's a full health Latios on this side. You don't Healing Wish the Conk immediately, though. I think you need the Jirachi. I think you lost. I think it was lost anyway from here, but I don't know. Maybe it's Jolly Dragonite. Then it was one. Maybe. I think this is just game over though now because Hippodon can just Ice Fang again. And what does Starmaster do? You dodge Draco Meteor. You have to Healing Wish. But even then, like you Volt Switch here and just go Latios and click Dragon Pulse. Payback is gonna do absolutely zero. Yeah, you Dragon Pulse. Or, well, if you don't have Pulse, you have to Draco, which might get the dicey, depending on the... Hmm. Alright, so what went wrong here? I think my game plan was better than leading Garchomp into Xatu. I think you... what did I say? To lead Volk? I think leading Volk was fine. So was leading Conk. Conk versus Xatu is just hard Volk. Because Xatu is forced to reflect, right? Which is exactly what he did the next time when it was against the Conk. And then you can just go Volk on the reflect and click Fire Blast. And then your opponent is forced to go Terrakion, which is totally fine. You can also maybe make a case to hard Giga Drain if you're feeling spicy, which I don't even hate, but it's probably unnecessary. You can just Fire Blast there. Terrakion will take 30%, right? It took 30%. And that's pretty okay, because then you can just go chomp on the Terra or Blastoise even. Hmm. Yeah, I think that's just a better play than leading Garchomp and ending up here. Leading Garchomp works great if your opponent leads Hippowdon, which you can make a case that they should. But uh, I don't know, I'm not convinced. Because it's Ice Fang Hippo, at this point we know, so you will take Earthquake turn 1, Ice Fang turn 2, and then you almost kill Hippo. You may even die, but is that really the best outcome? I mean, it's okay, because Hippo's dead. You have D-Knight, but it's Scarf Terrakion. Hippo dead. Hmm. I don't know. This probably very hard to win anyway for Starmaster, even if it goes the way you wish you went, which I think it's Chomp versus Hippo lead. Although Chomp versus Hippo, USD turn 1, and then you can maybe even rock turn 2, potentially. But do you really need the rocks up? Probably not. If this was a Starmie, the game would be so much easier. It will be GRC kind of Stonewall Starmie actually, so probably not. That's I think the it's a game plan problem mostly, which is you need to get a Volcarona in as many times as possible by using Conquer Duraxat. I think that's the only reasonable way of playing this game and a realistic way to win. Yeah, that's it. And leading Chomp, I think, is just dead. I think it's a Conk. Okay, leading Conk loses to like Whirlwind Hippodon because you have to bull capture one on the Hippodon. And if Sato comes out, you go Volk, Sand is up. It gets a bit tougher. Wait, no. Terrakion took 33% in Sand. So without Sand, it will take what? 1.5 times as much damage? That means around 50%. Holy moly, never mind. This. Okay. I'm now even more convinced that the right play was going for that exchange. Like, use Kong to bait out Xatu and just click moves with Wall. Just attack. You don't need to quiver dance in this game ever. And you should never do it anyway because there's a Scarf Terrakion on the side, so it's very hard to justify it. And anyway, you do so much damage. You just Fire Blast the things. What switches in? Latios takes well 50% as well. You can also always switch it up and eventually click backbuds, and you have Giga Drain and you have Healing Wish. Okay, yeah, I think that was just the game plan that Starmaster should have went for. If you do what he did, which is kind of the obvious way to play this game, this matchup rather, I think you always lose, which I mean, it's what happened. It was a miserable game to play probably because your chomp dies without doing anything turn one. Well, for three rather, and even dodge a Draco early, which probably didn't matter. Never mind. But in general, I think this game should be closer than it was. Yeah, that's it really. And good job, Ox the Fox. I didn't know he knew. I mean, obviously, if you're proficient at one gen or two, then you can also be proficient at black and white. Uh, this gen is very fair in the sense that things do what's written on the label, right? There's no Z moves, there's no Terra, there's no insane weather abilities, there's no rapid spin boost speed, there's no stupid stuff like that. Okay, there is black and white's own stupid stuff, obviously, like say Latios or Conk or whatever, or Volcarona, right? These monsters are just hard to beat, but if you play the later gens, they do the same things there, and they lose a lot of the supporting cast that makes them very strong. And so once you have zoned in on what makes some mons in black and white very strong, then you can play the gem just fine. If you're used to weather, strong attacking moves, and the lack of fairies is probably the biggest thing to adapt to, and which is why Ox the Fox recognized as a fairy gens main. Oh, there's no clefable here. I can just click Specs Draco Meteor with Latios, and he was absolutely right. That's exactly how we play black and white. You send in Latios, you click Specs Draco Meteor, and your opponent cannot do much about it except take it. That's it. That's the secret to black and white. Just Latios and click Draco Meteor. Oh, what are they going to do? Nothing, exactly. That's why this one is number one since forever in VRs, although some people like enlightened like me would say it's Ferrothorn number one. But yeah, that's it. See you next time.